I'm just being real. I'm being real, right? Because I want to talk about family, but if we don't talk about it from a real perspective, we can't solve real problems. Because our problems are real, so we can't gloss over it like we're going to talk about family, but I don't want to get into the nitty-gritty of my stuff.
You want to talk about the
causes and effects. The Cosby's. Now,
That's generally where the conversation go to when you talk about it.
Yeah. So.
As the ideal, yeah.
So this part was just to kind of set the tone. I just wanted to set the tone of the level of the conversation, because we're going to get into the family structure from the ideal, like you said, from the Cosbys. See, the Cosbys is kind of the ideal. Is kind of foreign to us, because that ain't how we came up. We didn't come up under no ideal situation. We're about to talk about a family structure of a son, a brother, a husband, a father, and a progression. But that ain't what we're familiar with. So we can talk about the way it's supposed to be, but the first thing that's going to come to mind when we start talking about it, man, that's some bullshit, Mr. Brother Muhammad. Don't nobody live like that. That's the first thing that's going to come up in the back of our minds. Because we have a hard time relating to it because we don't see it. We see bits and pieces of it, but we don't see the whole thing. And so we tend to feel like that it ain't even real. But guess what? That's the only thing that is real. What we're actually living in is not reality. We're actually living in an illusion. What we know, our family structure, the way our stuff is messed up, we are living in an illusion. An illusion that is being created by falsehood. Now, y'all all right? Y'all ain't mad at me, are you?
No.
All right. Now, for any two human beings to go up the road together, you have to have two minds that are on the same track. That are on the same track, going down the road together. Now, for these minds to function correctly, the mind has to operate off truth. If the mind operates off of a lie, falsehood, or the absence of the truth, this mind cannot work. The mind begins with what? Y'all that have been here, come on. The mind begins with what? Where does it start from? It starts from a place called definition. And it runs on a track. And that track is called what? Thought. In order for two people to go up the road together, their minds have to be thinking together. If two people are going up the road and one mind is thinking and the other one is not, they're not going together. One is a master and the other one is what?
Slave.
A slave. If two minds are going to go up the road together, they both have to be engaged in thought. And it moves from the definition of who I am and what is my purpose. The mind has to begin somewhere and it has to be going somewhere. So the purpose is why I'm here. Who I am and why I'm here. This process is called thought. And this mind runs on a track that every time this mind moves, this mind wants to be fed truth. It wants to be fed another truth. Daddy, how did I get here? Oh, baby, well, what happened is, what happened is, if I tell my daughter the truth, baby, you came as a gift from God. Okay, her mind says, doo doo. So, who is God? Well, God is inside of you. God is inside of all of us. God is the best of all of us. Well, where did I come from? You came from me and your mama. Well, where was you? Where was I before I was with you and your mama? You was with God. Now, when we didn't have this conversation, After we say a couple of truths, then what happens? We start to run out. It's difficult to answer the next question. And what generally happens then, we say a couple of truths and then we say what? Well, see the stork, see, there was a stork and they was flying and it was this factory, right? You came from Santa Claus. Now, what happens when the mind hits a lie is a disaster on a mental level. It's a disaster. It's like an atomic bomb. It's like on 9/11 and the towers fell and America just stopped. When a lie enters the mind, what's up, brother? It's like a disaster and the mind jumps the track of thought and it ceases to become a mind and it becomes an imagination. And that imagination lives in a world called illusion. No longer in reality, because this process of thought, this whole track exists in a place called reality. Once the mind hits a lie, it jumps the track of truth and reality and it becomes an imagination in a world of illusion. Now, so we say what we know, what we're used to, is in a world of illusion. Because in what we know, in this world of illusion, that's where poverty shows up. That's where drugs shows up. That's where prostitution shows up. That's where violence shows up. When this mind hits a lie and jumps the track, all of these things show up that are negative in the process of human development. Now, when this stuff happens, when this shows up, if I find myself in poverty, if I find myself using drugs, if I find myself engaged in violence and jail, disrespect, I can trace, Letitia said earlier, cause and effect. I can trace the cause of my effect back to a lie that either I told or someone told me and I accepted as the truth. We're going to use that as the base for where we're going next. Any questions about this? Any questions about this? We're talking about the mind right now, how the mind travels on a track called truth. When the mind jumps that track based on a lie, it goes into a world of illusion.
No, I can't answer.
This making sense so far? Now, once I'm in this world of illusion, you can tell me the truth, but there's a problem. Because once I get in the world of illusion, you know that thing called inertia? Y'all heard about that law called inertia? Bodies at rest tend to stay at rest unless acted on by the outside force, or bodies in motion tend to stay in motion in the direction of their motion unless acted on by an outside force. So what happens is, once I'm in that world of illusion, it's more comfortable for me to stay in that world of illusion than it is for me to get out of it. So somebody can come and tell me the truth and say, Brother Mike, man, you really shouldn't eat all that food with all that saturated fat in it, man. It's just not good for your health, man. All that cholesterol, you know what I'm saying? You know, it causes problems, causes diabetes, causes heart problems. Man, I've been eating like this all my life, man. My mama ate this way, my daddy ate this way, my uncles and aunts, I'm gonna eat this way, I'm gonna keep eating this. Well, that's why your mama got arthritis and rheumatism and pain in all her joints. But this way I'm gonna keep eating. Because it's easier for me to keep eating the same way, because that's what I'm used to. That makes sense? What's up, brother? I'm good.